Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining Convo with You. And today our topic is who cares for the caregiver? And before we get settled in, click that subscribe button and that little bell next to it, okay? So today we have a special guest, Dr. Alta Davis, who is a very, very dear friend of mine, sister, spiritual mom, yeah, all those kinds of things. And she has, there's so much wealth in her. She assesses, she provides, she counsels, she mentors, she does a whole wealth of things. She just has an ear to hear and just knows, she just loves, and she loves the Lord. That's Amen. A plus. She loves the Lord. Yes. And so we're going to let her talk about herself a little bit more and what she does and how she'll be able to help you as a viewer and us individually. So we're going to let her jump right in and talk about the topic, who cares for a caregiver? Let us welcome Dr. Alta Davis. Yeah. So we welcome Dr. Alta to the show today. Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about who is Dr. Alta?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for having me. This is a great honor and a privilege to be sitting among you guys. I am, first of all, a licensed professional counselor. I work with people with various issues. I have worked with people with stress, anxiety, depression, and so forth. So when you're talking about your subject today, it's just really coming to me that it's just a natural part of what we all do in life is dealing with stress.
So Dr. Alta, you told us a little bit about yourself. So our topic is who cares for for the caregiver. So as a caregiver, what are some of the stresses that a caregiver could go through that they may not even share with anyone because they are trying not to be a burden to the person they're caring for? So what are some of the things that they need to watch out for, as being a caregiver?
Okay, well, first of all, let me just say that the National Alliance for Caregivers states that there are 65.7 million caregivers in the nation. Wow. And so that means there are a lot of people that are caregiving, a lot of homes that are caregiving. And so with that number, you know that people take caregiving very differently. They handle it differently. And so to answer your question, first of all, what we have to do is assess the caregiver. Sometimes caregivers are in denial, so I got this, I can do this. Sometimes they suffer with guilt. Am I doing a good job? I don't know. Sometimes they're frustrated. This is difficult. This is a burden. This is more. And then you think about who it is to them. Oh my God, this is my mom. I shouldn't feel like that. She raised me. Oh my God, this is my spouse. I'm married. I agreed to death do us part. And so all of those things play a very big role in carrying that stress and how you carry it. And so a lot of it depends on the person. And so that brings me to why you need to assess, first of all, that person. When you assess the person, you're assessing what type of personality they are. Just for example, if you have a personality that is everything has to be just so, I have this perfection, or this has to be done and that has to be done, you are more likely to incur more stress because you're stressing yourself out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so when you get to a place of, sometimes I tell clients, when you get to a place that you're just like overstressing because you're overstressing yourself, then you need to breathe in, breathe out, and say, wait a minute, let me back up and let me assess what I'm doing, who I am, what is my personality. Okay, let's take it one step at a time. And so as a caregiver, you have to do that. You have to do that for yourself, and you have to do it for other people.
What if the caregiver doesn't have anyone else to turn to, and they're caring for that person, and they're feeling stressed and everything, you know, and they don't have family members or they don't have anyone to call, or maybe they think they don't have anyone to call, probably.
That's probably more.
Right,
Probably,
more.
yeah. Now, caregivers have they have some resources online, and I don't know, it depends kind of if you're, you know, tech skilled or whatever, but people can Google caregivers resources, and it'll give you resources. It'll give you maybe elder care, how to handle this. They have there are different trainings. There are actually conferences that caregivers can actually go to find people that look like them and do what they do. You know, how do you change a diaper proficiently? On an adult, and how do you move this weight without pulling your back out? These are questions that people have, and sometimes feel like incompetent of asking them or asking people for help, but there is help out there.
Yes.
And so you first start with just kind of Googling information, asking around, and so that's another way of looking at it.
Wow.
You
What
talked
about
about
the spiritual? Because when you're a Christian, when you're a believer, it takes it to a whole different level, because
feel
now,
more guilty.
you know.
As I felt more guilty
Okay.
because I was a Christian and I wasn't supposed to have these feelings. When my husband had a stroke and he was recovering, and this man is in bed, and do I have to change diapers now? All of those questions. That I'm an outgoing person, staying at home all the time is not me, and then I'm a Christian. I had a lot of guilt, a great deal of guilt, but then I had to take care of my husband, and I felt like I didn't have any help.
Okay.
And I didn't know, and I'm not computer savvy, so I didn't know that I could just sit down and go on a computer and figure out, but this is what I need, just going by a list. And I could have used that a few years ago.
Okay.
I worked through it.
Yes. And do you have family that?
I have a
Will
daughter.
help.
At the time we were, you know, she didn't like me very much at that time, but she loved her dad.
Okay.
And I think, but she works midnights.
Okay.
What kind of help is that?
Yeah.
And I couldn't say, come help me during the day, and you got to go to work tonight.
Right.
So
okay.
I literally felt all by myself,
Okay.
having to deal with a man that mentally maybe wasn't all there, physically wasn't all there, his caregiver and everything he needed, the changes of the house, and realizing I couldn't keep the house neat
Yes.
and
Yes.
clean, and just letting that go. And one thing God did help me with was, you cannot stay home every day. So I had to hire somebody to come in
Absolutely.
so that I could go to learn to cook and exercise. And that
Very
got me
good.
through those years.
Absolutely. That's great. That's a great testimony because many people experience that. And you know, let me just say this, because I'm like really down to earth with this Christian thing.
Okay.
We are Christian, we're saved, we love the Lord, but we have feelings.
Yes.
We share just what everyone else in the world shares. We have ups, we have downs.
Okay.
God knows it, we know it, and everybody else knows it.
Okay.
So a false faith in Christianity looks like, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm lacking in this area.
Sure.
And that's not good. I deal with that, and I say that because I deal with people with grief that are saved.
Okay. Yeah.
And they don't want to grieve because they think that it eliminates their faith. And I don't want God to be, displeased with me because I'm really grieving. I'm really burdened down. I'm going into depression or whatever.
Wow.
And so as a Christian, we have to be mindful that we're human beings as well.
Yes.
Okay? And so some of that can be religion.
Okay. Okay.
And so I won't go into that, but I can really get on that soapbox, but I won't go into that.
Need that. Okay.
Because in order to take care of yourself, you have to look at yourself realistically. As a caregiver and even as a person. So that's why I say you have to assess, first of all, who you are
Okay.
and what are you doing.
Okay.
What does this burden mean for me?
So Dr. Alter, when you say assess, what would be some things that fall under that if I were a caregiver?
I would say that first of all, you have to acknowledge what you're doing. who you're caregiving for, who you are as a person. You have to acknowledge that. You also have to acknowledge that this is a responsibility that I don't want.
Okay,
You have
yes.
to acknowledge
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. And that
You can't say, well, I don't mind because it's my mom, I don't mind because it's my husband. You acknowledge, this is really not me. I'm used to going, I'm
Yes.
used to doing,
Yeah.
I'm used to having fun.
Mhm.
And when those things are cut out, I'm not myself.
True.
Okay?
True. Okay.
I become a different person.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so you make adjustment. So you have to make the adjustment. But first of all, you have to acknowledge. And then you also have to ask yourself, how do I handle this? What are the steps that I need to do to handle this? How can I handle it? Stay safe, not hurt anybody. How can I handle this the way God would be pleased with
Yes,
me?
yes,
Okay?
yes.
All right. And so those are things that we must do as an assessment. I wanted to share this scripture, Mark 4:19. It talks about, but the worries of this life, the deceitfulness of wealth, the desires for other things come in to choke the word, and it makes us unfruitful. So when worries and cares and things get piled up on us, it chokes the word. So when you're talking about being a Christian, you have the word, you know the word, but all of these things come upon us, and it chokes out, it chokes out our fruitfulness because it's just a burden. Worries.
It is. It is.
Even if you look up care in certain places, it talks about anxiety.
Okay.
So, so those are things that we have to do with the assessment part.
Wow.
So my next point that I want to bring out was who is my support system and what do I need? A lot of caregivers don't look for a support system in the beginning because people are busy, people are working, people have their own lives, and so you take it upon yourself that you have to do everything. But taking care of yourself also includes who can help me. What do I need?
Wow.
And how do I communicate those needs to others? When you talk about who is my support system, you can have a family of 7 siblings, let me just use that number, with a parent that is ill. And many times, more often than not, there is one person in that family that carries that burden.
Yes.
Those other 6 siblings, they're doing their thing, they're living their life, and they're like, well, call me if you need something. Well, you know what, I'm gonna drop by Saturday, I got an hour. And so what the caregiver sometimes does is, they'll say things like, sure, it'd be nice if I had some help, or it would be nice if I could get to a movie one day. But that's not really expressing your need. That's a whining, complaining, non-communicative statement. That's what I call it.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you say, this is what I need, Mary, I need you or Bill or John to let me know what hours you can be available so that I can have a break. I need a break.
Oh, okay. That's a nice way of expressing it.
Maybe it's your friend. I trust you. I understand that you could come into my home and you could help me. Would you be available for a couple of hours to help me with my mom or my spouse? You have to say what you need. People don't read your mind. And if they think you're doing a great job, because if you have one, I call it the Superman cake, and you're doing it all, oh, she got this. And that's what people say.
Strong.
She's strong. Oh, she can handle it. She don't complain. She just do it. And it's
So they never see that you have
so
a
they
need?
never see that you have a need because you never communicated directly.
Because you put on a false.
Yeah.
Okay.
You put on this cape of, I got it, I could do it. But in the midnight hour, I'm tired, I'm beat, I'm worn out, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what I'm going to do, I need some help. And so God is saying, ask and you shall receive.
Right,
Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door will be open.
right.
So, not just to make lightly of it, but these are some things that we have to take charge of as caregivers.
Why don't we think of those things?
We don't think of those things because when you're stressed out with caregiving, all that stuff goes out the window.
Okay.
Your mind is focused on what you have to do next. Okay, I got to get this meal prepared. Okay, I got to get this medication dispensed. So you don't think about yourself. So this is why caregivers sometimes are so overly stressed. I've seen caregivers die before the patient.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Often
Because they just didn't speak of it.
because they have run down their bodies, they've run down their mental status, and they just are not able to.
I remember when my mom had breast cancer and I lived with her. And so now I had to, first of all, I'm angry with her because she never told us she had breast cancer. She told us she was having a hysterectomy and she was having her breast removed. And so then I'm now having to do her bandages, and I was mad. I was like, I'm in the bathroom with her trying to do her bandages, and I'm like, I was mad, and I felt real guilty for being mad.
Yes.
Because, that's my mom, and she was really, such a sweetheart, and so I carried that for a long time, even after she died.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, and anger is good. You see, caregivers get anger, caregivers get bitter,
Right. Resentment.
very
Oh,
resentful,
Yes.
hostile.
Yes.
One of the things I had noted that caregivers often withdraw from the social world. You know what? You live in your life, you doing this, you don't have no idea, no clue what I'm doing, and so you just kind of withdraw. And so sometimes that brings on that anger and hostility. And one of the things to combat that is when you're angry, say you're angry.
Oh, admit it.
Yeah, you admit you're angry. I'm angry. The Bible don't say don't be angry. It says don't let the sun go down on you.
Yes, yes,
okay.
it does. Yes,
all right.
it does. Yeah.
So if we're talking about I'm a Christian, let's use what the word says I can do then.
Yeah.
If you want to be appropriate.
Okay, okay.
Okay, if that's your thing, but some of those things are going to go out the window
Oh,
because your feelings are going to take precedence over what's going on. So it's okay to say I'm angry. I'm really angry. You weren't angry that she was ill. You were angry that she didn't tell you,
yes, yeah.
and you felt like you had a right to know. And now you're caregiving, and I didn't even know I was going to have to do this. And so you had that right to be angry. And had I known you at that time, I probably would have walked with you with that anger and said, okay, this is what we do with that anger. You said it, you get it out, and you let it go.
Wow.
Okay?
Right.
And so that's normal. It's for mom, dad, sister, brother, whomever. Because that's how you keep yourself healthy.
Right.
That's how you actually care for the caregiver. That's one of the other ways.
Keep yourself healthy.
Hey, this has been a great topic, great conversation with Dr. Alta. I want to ask you, as we challenge our viewers to change, what are 3 call to action pointers that our viewers can set in place that will provoke change in self-care?
Okay. First of all, I want to share that 1 Peter 5 and verse 6, it talks about humbling, verse 6 and 7, it talks about humbling yourself. And then it talks about casting your cares upon him because he cares. First of all, we can't carry every burden of life. And so when we have to get to a point when we actually cast our cares upon him, upon the Lord, whom we profess to know and believe in, we first of all have to cast our cares.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, the pointers you're talking about, one of the things I always say, we have to really get into the no factor. Everything is not a yes. Learn how to say no. Some things you can't do, some things you don't need to do, some things you just want to do. No. N-O.
It's a beautiful word.
No.
I don't use that word.
When you can't do something, say, no, I'm not available.
Wow.
When I know that I need a break and some time, I turn my phone off.
Yeah.
I'm not available. I don't care what. If somebody died, guess what? I'm going to find out. As soon as I turn that phone back on.
Yes, that's
I
true.
kid you not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn how to say no. You can't do everything.
Right.
And even as a caregiver, you may need to dispense medication at a certain time. You may need to do food at a certain time.
Yeah.
Those things are maybe must.
Yes, yes.
But do you actually have to brush somebody's hair at a certain time?
No.
No, you don't. You don't. Do you actually have to answer the phone at a certain time? You know, you have to think about what can I say no to?
Right.
No.
That's good.
What can, do I want to do this? Can I say no? No.
That's good.
What's stopping you?
Right.
So no is a real big factor. That's number one. Learn how to say no to the things that you don't need to be involved with. The second thing is me days.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to plan how to have your own self included in caregiving.
Okay. Yes.
I'm a caregiver in so many other ways, mentally for other people and emotionally. So I care for myself with me days. I put me days on my calendar. It's the day that I want to do whatever I want to do. If I want to sleep, I sleep. If I want to go out, I go out. If I want to go to a movie, I do that. If I don't want to do anything but not talk to you, I can do that because it's my day.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
But we feel so guilty about,
Yes.
I don't want to do that because that sounds selfish.
Selfish.
If you don't-
Yeah.
If you don't choose to take care of yourself,
That's it.
you're going to give up all your stuff,
Yeah.
all yourself, and that's where the stress comes in. That's overwhelming.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
nothing for yourself. You have to have me days. That's my number 2.
Okay.
My third one is you've got to have fun stuff. Fun stuff. You got to laugh. Crack your own jokes. Okay? I laugh at myself sometimes. Like, oh my God, girl, that was funny. But you are okay.
Yes.
You have to have some humor.
Oh.
You have to have humor in your life. Surround yourself with people. If somebody is drudgy and whiny and you don't need to be around them, you got your own problems.
Okay.
Like, girl, I know what you're talking about, but I got to go.
I'll use that one. Thank you.
You know? They telling you their problems,
Yeah.
and you have 25,000 other ones,
Yeah.
Wow.
and they're not helping.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you don't need their problem.
Okay.
I can't help you.
They're adding on to
You're
yours.
right. I can't help you with that.
Wow.
Wow.
The last thing I want to say is do the very best you can with what you
Yeah.
have.
Oh, okay.
If this is all that I have to work with, if I don't have 5 family members to help me, what do I have? Let me do the best with what I do have, so that you don't feel guilty. I'm doing the best I can. Could I do more? Maybe I could, but it may not be healthy for me.
Oh.
You know, we have to think about those things. So if you're talking about caring for the caregiver,
Yes.
these are some things that you're going to have to back up and think about and not feel guilty or feel selfish. You're going to have to take some time, and I even tell clients, this is a time right now where you're working on you, and you're going to use this time to be selfish. And that means you're going to tune into yourself. What's going on with me? What are my thoughts? What am I feeling? When's the last time I've had a physical? When is the last time I've sitting down and eaten a good meal? When is the last time someone cooked for me?
Oh.
When is the last time I was able to go out and have a meal?
Oh.
When was the last time I just went to a movie just because? When is the last time I did something for myself? Because your best self can only be your best self if you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And when you take care of yourself good,
Yes.
you can be a good caregiver.
Yeah.
You can take care of a person.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay. You know what? I'm going to leave you for a few hours. So-and-so is going to come in.
Yeah.
They're going to be with you.
Yeah.
And you're going to be okay. Yeah, but I only want you to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Guess what, honey? You're going to be okay. Because mama got to step out.
Okay.
Okay? You have to take your own power. You heard about taking your own power, your own authority. You have to take the things that you need for yourself and build them up and use them for you.
Yes.
You cannot be a good caregiver if you don't take care of you.
Right.
You cannot. You will be run down, stressed out,
Yes.
overburdened, bitter. People will be ducking you because, like, honey, she got issues. She bitter. I don't want to be around her. All she talk about that. I had to do this and I had to do it.
Oh,
They won't even want to be around you.
and you need them.
Right, and you need them. That is absolutely true.
Oh, wow.
So you run
Wow.
away the people that can support you.
That can-
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Wow.
these are things that you have to do as a caregiver, and they're not outlandish, they're not overboard, but it brings balance to you. We need balance in our lives.
Yes.
We need
Excellent.
balance.
Yes.
I always say all work and no play makes me a dull girl.
Yes, okay. I guess it does.
You just can't work all the time and not have fun or laughter or joy.
Yes.
It makes you dull.
Wow.
It makes you a different
Yes.
person.
Thank
It makes you who you don't want to be.
Yes.
you.
I like to have fun.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
No, I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to joke. But when it comes time for work and seriousness,
Yes.
I'm on for the task because I'm taking care of me the way I know how to
Yes.
take care of me.
Yes.
And so we have to do that.
Wow.
I try and practice what I preach.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yes.
I do. Because if you don't do that, you will find yourself burdened down, washed out, and you won't be good for yourself and you won't be good for the person that you're caring for.
Right.
Caregiving is a really big job,
Yes.
and it's something to be looked at very seriously.
Awesome. This has just been so wonderful.
Yes.
I mean, this is a fantastic episode.
Yes.
Tell you self-care is just so important.
Yep.
And really understanding from the point of a caregiver, life is just, it's always
Yes.
difficult, but I'm sure it's more challenging when you are helping someone and
Yes.
caring for them,
Yes.
a loved one, you know.
Yes.
So thank you, Dr. Alta. Great
Yes.
words.
Yes.
Great words.
Yes.
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 Awesome.
Freedom.
So you've heard from us, and so now let us hear from you. You can go to our website at convowithyou.org and let us know how God has challenged you in this area of self-care with our topic today. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like our Facebook page, and check us out. We'll see you next time on Convo with You.
Bye. Thank you for joining us.